Okay, and the big part of this program is this CVSA, the Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance. And this is something that came about from industry as well as the enforcement side that said we need to set up a standard so that when these vehicles come in and they get inspected, that they are inspected the same no matter where. And this Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance has actually been now accepted worldwide. We literally give training to countries like India, South America, you name it. They've adopted these same programs because it's a standard that's easy to develop. It's a standard that we can all work with because enforcement's had their input, industries had their input into it, and it's just a list of violations or situations to where if they're maintained to this level, we've got safe equipment out here on the highway with safe drivers operating it. A CVSA Level 1 inspection. This is what we call a comprehensive vehicle and driver inspection. We're going to look at everything. We're going to look at your driver's license, medical card, logbook. We're going to look at your shipping papers, all the paperwork on the vehicle, the insurance. We're going to take a look at the outside of your vehicle. We're going to look at tires. We're going to look at brakes. We're going to look at the underside. We're going to crawl underneath your truck. We're going to look at everything. And then there's a list of items that are what we consider critical items. If you have no defects in those critical items, we will give you a safety sticker. And the safety sticker is good for 3 months that says that you've been inspected, and unless we see an obvious defect, we're going to leave you alone for 3 months. And we have a lot of industry, they want us to do these things, by request. And we really can't except for emphasis like we did this last weekend. And now it is a random inspection roadside. This was part of the criteria for this, that they be done random on the highway and that so that they can't say, well, yeah, these guys get special favors because they volunteer for them. If we do a volunteer inspection, you are subject to the same standards as if we picked you up off the street. In other words, if there's a ticketable offense, you will get a ticket. If there is an out-of-service item, you will be placed out of service. So it's not that we won't do a volunteer inspection. You just got to realize you're subject to the same criteria as if we randomly picked you roadside. Okay, level 2 is what we call a walk-around inspection. That is an inspection that we're going to do basically if we stop you while you're moving down the road, or if a trooper stops you. The difference between the trooper and us, we're in a black and gray uniform. Our troopers are basically in their blue uniform. So you will notice a difference between the level of inspections. The trooper is never going to do a level 1. He's not certified to do a level 1. But he can say, if he sees something falling off your truck, he's going to stop you, and as well as either give you a warning or a ticket, he's also going to do a walk around. And that's where we're going to check your turn signals, brake lights, headlights, the stuff that you would do in a normal pre-check before you take a truck out on the highway. We will not crawl underneath it at that time, and you are not subject to getting a CVSA decal at that time. And then there's what we call a level 3, which is a driver paperwork inspection. This is very common for hazmat carriers because they get their vehicles inspected, but we are not necessarily mandated, but basically mandated to look at all hazmat loads that we see on the highway that we can get to. If you're calling hazmat, you might as well get used to the fact that you're going to get stopped almost every time you go into a scale house. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. And this is part of the Homeland Security issue. We want to know if you're carrying hazmat, what have you got on the truck? Where did you load it? Where are you taking it? Is it ending up in our state? Is it being transported out of our state? We want to know where the hazmat is in our state and where it's moving to and from. So you're going to get inspected over and over and over again, and you might as well just realize that that's part of the program right now because of our society and the way it is. And we are dealing with terrorist threats, yes, even in the good old Walla Walla Tri-Cities area. We're dealing with companies that are considered terrorist threat right here in your backyard. So don't think it's just overseas or over in New York. We have got companies that basically are under watch here that have made the list of the fact that they have been suspicioned of transporting goods for not the right reasons. So realize this is part of the whole reason behind these inspections is safety, and not just on the highway. It's for everything. CVSA decal criteria, your vehicle must pass all of the critical items on the list. In other words, you can have some minor light violations. ID light can be out in that, but a turn signal or a brake light, no, can't be out. This type of thing. And that out of service criteria is major defects of the critical safety items. You have over 20% of your brakes out of adjustment. You're not going anywhere. You have a load that's not secured properly. You're not going anywhere. You're illegally hauling a load of hazardous materials. You're not going anywhere except probably to jail at that time. So realize there are criteria, and there are criteria for driver out of service, vehicle out of service, and hazmat out of service. If you're a driver and you have a suspended license, you're not going anywhere, but you're going to go to jail. And that if there is something wrong with your license, say it's expired, just expired within a 30-day period, you're probably not going to be placed out of service at that point. We're going to tell you get the truck into the yard, go down and get your driver's license, and that type of thing. So it's a matter of how critical we feel. An expired medical certificate is not an out-of-service item, but you're not to drive the truck once you get done with the trip that you're on until you get a new medical certificate. If you don't have the proper class of license, in other words, you're driving a semi and you've only got a Class B license, no, we're not going to let you continue because you're not legal to drive that type of vehicle. If you haven't gotten the double trailers endorsement now, the new training requirements, you're not going to be able to pull that set of doubles down the road. So it depends on the severity as to what's going to happen. But there are situations to where your company's either going to have to come out and get you or the piece of equipment before you go anywhere. If we give you a CVSA safety decal, it'll be one of 4 colors, green, yellow, orange, or white. And then depending on what corner, or if any of the corners are removed, will tell us what month of that quarter it's done. And then obviously the year, the number on there will designate the year that it was given. So we have the year, the month, and the number that's on the CVSA decal will tell us who did the inspection. So I come out to an accident and you've rolled your truck, one of the first things I'm going to do is look on your vehicle to see if there's any CVSA decals. If they are, I want to know who did the inspection last, when it was done, and we're going to take a look at that truck and find out, did that officer make a mistake? Did he miss something during the inspection? We're all human. We're not perfect by any means. But this will basically tell you and tell us that your truck has been looked at recently. The only people that can issue CVSA decals are law enforcement right now. We're trying to get other certified people authorized to do so, but right now it has to be law enforcement. It could be either state, city, or county, because we have had some of them go through our training classes, but those are the only people. So if you get somebody out here that comes up with some CVSA decal, says, hey, I'll inspect your truck for $60 and put one of these decals on for you, please give us a call because they've stolen the stickers from somebody. It must be law enforcement. And that. So if you do have the sticker on there, like I say, it's good for a month, and we pretty much honor those. Actually, unless we find defects, you probably are going to get close to 6 months worth of use out of it just because of the number of inspections that we